What you got over there?
Got my coverage back for one of my screenplays.
A what?
I'll share it with you.
Man, I ain't never seen you this happy. Hope it's some good news. I hope it's a chat.
Go on back. Go do what you were doing. I'll talk to you.
Okay.
All right. Bullshit. Hi, I'm Coleman, and welcome back to the 40 Plus Screenwriters course. Today, I have combined Module 4 and Module 5 together. We'll be talking about script coverage and we'll be talking about script consultants. These are two peas in the pods because the main thing comes down to being a script reader. Now, script readers work for script coverage services, and these people have generally had some experience analyzing scripts for a production company or a studio. Many of them have been an assistant in the studio or worked on a development team. And so they've accumulated a certain amount of cachet, having read thousands or hundreds of screenplays. Now, I'd like to briefly talk about the assistants for some of these production companies and studios. They can be your best friend. And you just heard me say that some of the script readers and script consultant, some of these people were assistants at the lower level, and they were the first line of defense against bad scripts ever making it to the top. And so, just as a side note, when you contact a production company or anything and you run into an assistant, treat them with some grace. But the script coverage service, the readers for these services are going to analyze your script for its strengths and weaknesses. They're going to talk about the character, they're going to talk about the plot, they're going to talk about the dialogue. They'll even go into the marketability of your screenplay. They may write a synopsis for you to use so you can see what they actually did, how your script is flowing. So today I'm going to be pulling up two reports of coverage that I had on one script that I wrote back in 2019. A very dear script to me because uh, it was covering the topic of adolescent childhood abuse and male sexual abuse. It was called Little Boys. And and it was a very personal script to me because I worked with adolescent sexual offenders for about 5 or 6 years. And I had a friend whose son was a senior in high school and he was playing ball and he was dealing with some issues related to his experience. So that screenplay was birthed out of my experience and my experience working with boys specifically. So, without further ado, let's take a look at the coverage that I received uh, for my screenplay, Little Boys. So, let's go through this. And this is just, it's kind of common for most services to give you coverage like this. You get your coverage back, it'll have the genre, have the writers, and the date that I submitted this was 2019. That was in January. And this is something that a lot of people don't do, but I like Script Readers Pro because they did put the analyst's name here. I think I've already looked her up. Here she is. This is Miss Madison, who actually did the coverage on my script. She's a writer herself, actress, and I believe a producer. So, but I do like the fact that they list who's doing the coverage on there because sometimes you'll get it back and they won't have a name. You don't know who's reading your script. Sometimes you don't even know if they're qualified to do it, and that's kind of a risk that you take. So it has the log line that I sent in with it. A small town is rocked when its golden boy is charged with murder and the truth comes to light years later with a shocking revelation. Like I said, the story was about two boys, and long story short, one of them took a murder rap for a murder that he didn't do. But everything stems from their childhood abuse and stuff, and so I don't want to give it away. It'll be made. I'm calling it, and so you would get this. Because they always, you're going to start off here, celebrating, hey, at least you finish this thing. But this was important to me. Your material is uniquely timely in this Me Too era. And I knew that it was, which is why I wanted to try to capitalize on it. I just wanted to bring to light that there are boys out here that are dealing with this same thing. And like I said, now you find in Hollywood that everything is all coming out. So I think it's still time for this to be made. Your theme and social commentary makes this a great pitch. And so they're going to focus on things. So it is timely, but this was important. She says, as I said, the concept is timely and has great potential where the script veers off track from where the script veers off track for me, story wise, it's the talk show element. And in my original screenplay for Little Boys, I had uh, one of the guys, he had grown up and he was telling his story on a talk show, much like Oprah. And once I read this, I had to consider what she said and went back over the script myself. So, and she said the talk show element, just kind of really made it messy. This unnecessarily complicates the story and creates questions that the reader and audience would ask themselves, which don't cast the lead character in a flattering light. Now, anytime that you're getting script, you got to be able to take it. You're going to need eyes on your script, and it's your baby. But when people criticize it, if it's or if they point out weaknesses in it, I think you're going to have to take it under consideration to make some changes there. There have been some instances where people have suggested changes and they did not work. I changed them, and whereas they had been placing in contests, after I made the changes and was submitting it, it was a no go. So you got to be very, very careful who you're listening to and if you're going to take the reader's suggestion. She thought that it would make a good indie film, and I did too. But there were just flaws in the script, and the talk show element didn't work. And they gave me a rating grid, and you're going to get one. Concept was silent. Everything else is not bad. Concept was okay. It was a good concept. It was timely. The theme was timely. The rest of it is just not bad. Writing style, not bad. Marketability, okay. Yeah, okay. Formatting was okay. Then they judged it on grammar. The grammar wasn't bad. The title wasn't bad. But here, when you send it off for coverage, they're usually going to give a script recommendation. It's either going to be a pass, meaning that, hey, go back to the drawing board. I'm going to put it like that. And that's okay because a lot of people, get passes on their scripts. I got many of them. Uh, they're either going to say pass, which means this you're going to have to flesh this out a little more. Or there's put consider, and that means that, hey, with a few changes, oh man, you might really have something. And then they'll have recommend. And if somebody gets a recommend, that means that your stuff is almost flawless, whatever genre this was, and a person could say, hey, this needs to be pushed on to a studio head or somebody who can actually do something with it. But this, at this time, my first coverage, that's a pass. Now, the second one, now that was in January. I came back, and what I did was I took her suggestion and I took out the talk show element in here and I sent it off for another coverage service, and that was We Screenplay. So I did a little rewrite on it, and I submitted that in March. The other one was like the first week of January, and We Screenplay came back with a consider. It scored a 7.60 out of 10. And there's a little different. It'll give you the ranking of the scores, the plot, character, and these are the things that they look for. And these are the things that you should look for prior to sending it for coverage, actually. So, make sure your plot is down. Make sure you got good characters, strong characters, believable ones. Make sure that the concept isn't a concept that's overused. And of course, you're going to be learning about structure when you write your screenplay. So, almost finished here. Now, as you can see, they do not give you the name of the person who actually analyzed this script. They're just going to tell you that they studied television and film at so-called university and that they're an independent producer. Sometimes you can understand for safety reasons why, uh, companies don't list people because you got crazy people out here. So, taking out the talk show element really did this script some justice. And that's what you're going to have to look at when you get your coverage back. After you write your screenplay and you send it out to get a couple pair of eyes on it, look over the suggestions and see if they make sense to you. What works and what doesn't work. Like I said, sometimes you can take out stuff they suggest and it makes it's terrible. You should have left it the way that it was. At least that happened in one of my cases. And there you have it, script coverage and script consultants. Just remember that the consultant is a reader who probably has a level of expertise in the industry because of the positions that they have held in studio or production companies. They've read hundreds or thousands of screenplays and they're qualified to do what they do. They can be very, very expensive depending upon what you want. Now, here I'm talking about script consultants. But the thing about script consultants is, and what sets them apart from just a general reader from a coverage service, is this one-to-one dialogue that you're going to have concerning your script because it'll take place either on Zoom or by a telephone call, and you'll hear a voice and you begin to talk, and things can become a little more personable and you'll get a good feel from it. But like I said, you're going to be shelling out some money. And so you have to consider it. We have to consider our finances really when we're in our 40s, 50s, and 60s. And I always say 70s too, because some people don't get their laurels until after they're 70 years old. It's a shame because they've been doing this for a long time, and that's whether being a screenwriter or an author, I mean, but that's the way that it is. A long story short, be careful of your money, treat people with respect. Remember the little spiel I gave you about the assistants in these studios and production houses. Just treat them with some kindness and respect. You never know who you are going to meet on your way up. They might be in this position now, but they may later be in a position where they remember how you treated them, and it may open a door for you. Again, this is L.E. Coleman signing off. Thank you for sharing your time with me. Have a wonderful, wonderful, blessed day.